Mom, you are cancer free. And immediately the weight that was on me, it left.
Hello and welcome to Crown Conversations, a good hair podcast where we share our hair stories and hopefully find healing. I'm your host, Patty Rice, writer and producer of the Good Hair film. Today's episode isn't just about hair. It's about what happens when life strips everything away and what you find when it does. This episode will touch anyone who has faced illness-related hair loss, but we aren't here to be sad today. We're here to break free of stigmas women and men, especially women, face when they lose hair while fighting cancer. This episode is called When the Crown Falls. Today's guest is a woman who has beaten cancer not once but twice, and both times she's chosen to rise with the joy of the Lord. She's a speaker, a mental health advocate, Sunday school teacher, an author who has written about her life and experiences, and a woman whose willpower and resilience is nothing short of extraordinary. You may have seen her on screen, having starred in lead roles in two of my film projects, The Assignment and 5 Minutes with Jesus. But her most powerful performance hasn't been on a set. It's been real life while facing cancer and an aortic dissection. And with every challenge, she's been a brave, powerful woman deciding to walk with faith, strength, and even laughter. She doesn't just survive. She inspires everyone around her to thrive, including me. Everyone help me give Jaculin Jones her crown. So Jaculin, my family always tells me that I don't have any rhythm, but if I did, I would be up here dancing up a storm for having you here with me today to have this conversation. I'm so excited.
Well, listen, anything at your house is worth coming for. I am so excited to be here. I really am.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
I love you so much.
I love you more. I love you more.
So let's invite everybody in to a conversation. Like, you and I are always having discussions.
Yes.
And sometimes I have thought, wow, we should have recorded that. So here we are. So let's talk a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about your background, who Jaculin is, where you're from, what your family dynamic was like.
Okay.
Tell us.
Well, very interesting. I'm from New Jersey. I'm from a little town called Lawrence Township in New Jersey. I come from a family of 10 siblings. I'm the 9th of the 10. Both of my parents, we grew up in a 3-bedroom home, so you can about imagine what that was like. Let's just say we managed. We managed, but just great family heritage, a God-fearing family I grew up in, not just my parents, but, our extended family. Just grew up in church, enjoyed my siblings. And I will tell you, there's nothing like the dynamic of having 10 siblings. And I was the knee baby for the longest time. So I will say maybe I was a little bit spoiled. And that was probably because we did have some little trauma that occurred in our household. My brother was burned in our kitchen, a fairly good portion of his body, while my mom was expecting me.
Oh my God.
So that kind of left me to my siblings to kind of take care of me while they were taking care of him. Thank God, ain't nobody dropped me on my head. So I survived the 10, but that was pretty much our dynamic. There were 6 girls and 4 boys.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Wow. So just want to know, just like in terms of what are some of the values that like your family instilled in you, your parents instilled in you?
Well, I will tell you, God first. That had to be really, honestly and truly the main goal of our parents, to make sure that we honored God We went to church. That was like, I say sometimes I feel like I was born on a pew because we were in church all the time. It seemed like we were at school and we were at church. But I'm grateful that my parents allowed us to have some level of balance, meaning, I participated in sports. I was probably one of the most athletic of my siblings in terms of the girls. And so I was in sports and things like that. But the dynamic really occurred around the church and just being with our church family, local and extended. Our house was the house that if we were having big conventions and things like that, everybody was coming to our house. And so we stayed pretty packed. But that was one of the things, education was a big part. My parents were not the most educated in terms of their years and things in school, but they did try to instill in us to get an education and then to work hard. They worked very hard. And so that was one of the things. My father was a carpenter. So I pretty much can honestly say I picked up a lot of his carpentry skills. My sisters used to rag on me earlier on when I moved to Maryland. They were like, that girl's hands can't do anything. But I'm telling you, I was spinning circles around them. Now there's not too much that they won't allow me to do. But that was one of the things, hard work and just instilling God in us.
Now, listen, you mentioned in church, that just brings back so many memories for me because my family was heavily involved in the church. And I'm thinking back to like the Saturday afternoon where it was a big production to do my hair to get ready for Sunday service.
Yes.
And you're telling me it was 6 girls. And I'm like, what was that like? With all of the hair.
Well, listen, I'm glad you said that because that Saturday, I declare to you, my mother would have us in the house. Now, my oldest sister, she was a little bit older. And I think by this time, as I began to realize and recognize things, she was off to college.
Okay.
But the other 4 of us, because my little sister may not have been born just yet, but every Saturday, my mother had us downstairs in that kitchen. And honey, those curls were swinging, those hot curlers, the ones they used to twirl around and flip around.
Oh, yeah.
They were swinging, and that straightening comb, my mom had 2. And I praise God that my sisters were kind to me and they let me keep the curling irons and things when my mom passed. But every Saturday, and let me just tell you, my mother did not play with hair. We might have wore those 7 locks Monday through Friday, but Saturday, that hair was getting done. And we were greasy as we wanted to be. I mean, every now and then she tapped that ear. That's because we were moving. So if you moved, honey, you were getting that ear burnt. But it was common to her to make sure that our hair was done.
Wow.
And when you have that many sisters in one household, my mother just believed in us just looking our best,
Yes.
So that hair was a part of that.
Wow. And so with your mom placing that at such a high value, like what did your hair specifically mean to you?
I will tell you, coming up, because there was a time where she kind of let us begin to do our own hair. At some point, you got to know how to do it. And so I always had pretty lengthy hair. It was kind of soft. I've seen pictures of my hair in times past, and I'm like, wow, she had a lot of hair on her head. And it was soft. It was manageable. I could do all kinds of things with my hair. I could braid it down. I could wear a bush. I could flat iron it. I don't believe I got a perm until I went to college. So, and that was a whole new world for me. I'm like, a perm? And I won't tell you why I got the perm. Okay. That's a whole nother story. But
does it have something to do with a cute boy?
It had that's exactly what it had to do with. I was out at an amusement park and I had got my hair pressed, and I said, I'm not going to get on any wet rides until the end. Because, you get on the wet rides at the end, that's it.
Oh, it's over.
Lord have mercy, that hair was flat. And by the time I got off that ride, my hair was out the here. And he had the audacity to say, oh, you need a perm.
Oh.
Yes. And in the sweetest kind of way, and he wasn't bad on the eyes. So I was like, I took him up on it. So anyway, yeah, college, I did get a perm. I did. Yes.
Okay. And so in terms of your identity and your confidence level, when your hair was, we always called it when it was, ironed out or pressed out and all of that and straight, we would say, oh, my hair is done. So when your hair was done or even when it was perm, like what did that do for you in terms of your identity and in terms of your confidence level?
Well, I said the perm just made my hair straight. I won't necessarily say that it defined me in any kind of way. It just made it straight. It made it a little bit more manageable. But I also knew how to do twists, So I was pretty flexible in that. I remember in college, because, that used to be the big deal when you're at college, you're doing all kinds of stuff with your hair. And there were certain hairdos that you did. Well, I remember one where the hair was all up in a bun and then the ponytail was sticking all the way up here.
Oh,
it was
yes.
straight, right? Remember that? I think the higher it was, the badder you were. And so I remember that being one of those hairdos. But I just always liked to try to keep my hair nice, right? I really did. But it wasn't something that I kind of gloated about. The hair was what it was, and that's one thing. My mom didn't make our hair a big deal per se, where it made us feel conscious or of how we looked. It's just she always made sure that we looked nice, and we tried to carry that on when we got older.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you are, going through life and you have this hair, you're doing different things with it, you're expressing yourself through it and all of those things. And then you come to a transition. You come to a moment where everything changes. Let's talk a little bit about that. That change was a big change for you when you were first diagnosed with what level was it? Was it stage 1 or what stage was?
Very interesting. The first time I thought it was stage 1. And I'll have to kind of share how I learned later on that it wasn't actually stage 1, it was stage 2. But I did not know that the first time. So these are things that as I'm speaking to the newest oncologist, I learned that, the first time it was stage 2 also. But there were some differences, right? But I think as far as their transition was concerned, I had already been dealing with the fact that my hair had already started turning a little, I would say premature, salt and pepper. So, I had tried to dye it a couple times, trying to experiment with some ultra black and, you're just really trying to keep your youth, the way you want it. And so when I got the first diagnosis, I actually didn't really concern myself with the hair so much as it was the diagnosis, understanding the diagnosis. Now, let me just say that when I got this first diagnosis, I was just coming off the heels. It was 15 months after I had the aortic dissection. And if anybody knows anything about that, that's a life-snatching condition, and God spared my life. And so when I got this diagnosis 15 months later, I'm just trying to manage what's going on in my body from that.
So let's touch on that a little bit. First of all, what is an aortic dissection? And then give us a few, bullet points about what that meant,
Yes.
how the impact of that on your life.
Yes. So an aortic dissection is when your aorta, it's that, the best way to describe it is that long, thick artery that comes off of your heart, and it travels down the center of your body, and it is where the blood flows to feed your internal organs. So mine was torn, and then it formed what they call a false lumen, where the blood was coming down, but then it was running back up that false area. And for me, it created an aneurysm. And so anybody that knows anything about aneurysms, if they should erupt almost anywhere in the body, it could kill you either instantly or over some period of time if it's not addressed.
Okay.
The blessing for me is that mine was a type B, meaning the tear was from the top down, as opposed to type A, where the aorta is coming up. And type A is generally, you're a goner if they don't get you somewhere immediately.
Wow.
And so initially when the tear occurred, I was hospitalized in shock trauma for several days. And they wanted to watch the tear to see if it would form an aneurysm. And unfortunately, within a month and a half of the tear, it had doubled the size that they had expected for it to be. So I needed to have surgery. Had surgery on October 31st of 2014.
Okay, 2014.
And so here we are. They did cutting edge procedure to repair my aorta. I have several things inside of my body just holding that aorta together. But 15 months later, I began to notice that something was going on in my body, but I couldn't figure out what it was. I said, something just doesn't feel right. So I
was
called.
it like a fatigue? Was it like
it was fatigue. I was hearing ringing in my ear.
Okay.
It worried me so that, and I guess because I was concerned about the mechanics and everything that they had already done, called and of course wanted to get checked out. And they said, yeah, come on, but you need to have your mammogram. So it was time for the annual mammogram. And I was like, okay, well, let me go ahead and get that done.
Okay.
Thank the Lord, everything checked out as far as what I thought the problem was. I had no signs of lumps or anything like that in my breast. I never had any concern about a mammogram at all. So here I am. It's December. I returned to work after a year or so. And then February is when I get the cancer diagnosis. So you asked me about my hair. I had too many things going on for my hair to even be an issue. And by that time, I learned how to crochet, braid.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. I became a crochet queen. So I was putting them in and out. I was like, hey, this is a nice little, easy hairdo.
Yeah.
And so we were enjoying just doing the crochet braids and things like that.
Yeah.
So when I got the diagnosis, of course, I was wearing the crochet braids.
Wow. Now, was that something that was in your lineage, your family line? Some families have history of cancer, things like that.
Yeah, I only had one cousin that had breast cancer that I'm aware of. One cousin. Yes. And that was, I want to say, maybe 20 or so years prior to me getting it. But there hadn't been anyone else in my family that I knew of that had breast cancer.
Oh my God.
And of course, one of the things that I did do, and I think this should be the responsibility of anybody who's had breast cancer, is to do that type of testing to make sure there isn't any genetic component to it that could be passed down through your family, your sisters, the males. I don't know how that crosses over, but definitely for your own children and for your family, is to check and see if you have any type of blood condition that could, potentially affect your family. So that is what I did do, and thank God I don't have any of those type of genetic things that would impact my family.
Wow. So Jaculin, so take us back to that day, to that first diagnosis.
Yes.
And help us understand what that was for you walking through that.
Yes. Well, I will tell you what saved me. Now, you might think this isn't a saving kind of situation, but what saved me, I was just returning to work. I was already in a very high exposure position, very stressful. I had returned to that. And I returned to a new position.
Okay.
And so I'm returning to work. That Friday before, I went to have the second mammogram. On that same day, I had the second mammogram. I had the biopsy all on the same day. That was on a Friday. That Monday, I'm in a meeting and my phone rings. It's from the radiologist who I'd seen on Friday. And she tells me, I'm sorry to tell you, but we found breast cancer. We found cancer. And what we're going to do, she asked me if I was okay. And I will tell you, I had like a 3-second sting. It just felt like something stung me.
Yeah.
And I said to her, I said, okay, so what next? I think I was somewhat focused on what was happening at the job, trying to, re-up everything that I had acquired through the new position. And yet hearing this diagnosis. So she said, we're going to have a disciplinary team meet with you that coming Thursday, and we'll sit down and we'll kind of tell you what our intentions are for your treatment. And I said, okay. And I just didn't know how to think or what to think. What I did do was I called my husband.
Okay.
We decided that we were not going to tell the children yet until after we came from that meeting on that Thursday.
Okay.
And we did that. And I will tell you, I think I sat there in thought, just really trying to process cancer.
Yeah.
Just really trying to, you hear so many things about cancer. And oftentimes people say it's a death sentence. That's really where their head goes first, because you know of so many people who have died of cancer. Millions didn't make it, but I can tell you, I've been one of the ones who has made it, but that is not what you're thinking about when you first hear that diagnosis. And so I went home. We met with the disciplinary team, and this is very important. We met with them. We came back to the house. We were meeting with a trainer, a fitness trainer anyway, prior to the diagnosis. And that was our night to meet with him. I come home, he sets me in the room because I need to do the warm up.
Okay.
I go in, I'm doing my warm ups, and I'm watching the TV. And I turn, I'm like flicking through the channels, trying to get to, just trying to figure out what I can do to hurry up and get this fitness, this warm up over. And I turn to this Christian channel, the Jewish Jesus.
Okay.
And at the bottom of the screen, it said, stand on the word of God and don't let anything else in. That became my saving grace.
Wow.
It was clear as a bell. Stand on the word of God and don't let anything else in. And so that became my anchor for what I did not know I was going to have to face.
Yeah, because I wanted to ask you, just even in that moment where you hear the news and it's basically a numbness, a surreal experience that you're describing. It's like, okay, you're a woman of faith.
Yes.
You grew up in the church.
Yes.
What then is your conversation with God?
You want to ask the question, right? But I think what helped me was that I had already had history with God. See, when you're faced with a condition that is out to kill you, that aortic dissection was really worse than the cancer because the outcome does not always give you an opportunity for treatment per se. And because I saw the miraculous work of God in my life doing that, it didn't minimize the fact that I had cancer. But what it did tell me is that you got history with God already. So if I'm going to count on him, he's already shown me what he can do. It didn't change all the things that I had to go through. Your physical body is wrecked. Your physical body, it is amazing when God says we are fearfully and wonderfully made. That is the whole truth.
Yes.
That is the whole truth. Because if you can sustain that kind of battering on your physical body, how our cells regenerate themselves, how we get new blood. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It is just amazing. Again, those aren't always the things that you're thinking about in the moment. But when you do take those moments of reflection and say, God, if you took me through this, I knew you're going to take me through this. And that was what I had to hold on to, that we've already been here. We've already been here.
What a powerful stance, because there's so many people, and then there's so many people that I'm sure are watching right now who they've been through a battle and then here's another battle. It's almost like, you know, King David, all of the various battles he went through. And it's just like, some people could take the stance of, again, God, you know, there's this post online. Every time a new year changes where they have somebody on the phone, it's like, I'm just calling to make sure that I'm not on God's strongest soldiers list, you know, for the new year.
For the new battle. And you're probably on it. You're probably on it. No joke. You're on it. You're on it. For some strange reason, he feels like you can handle this thing.
I tell you. Yeah, it's an amazing... It's almost an amazing gift because, you know, when the Bible tells us, you know, think it not strange, these fiery trials, you know, that we're going to go through. It's like, you know, the Bible is kind of clear, actually, that we're going to have these experiences. But the fact that you didn't take that moment and get mad at God and like, God, again, I just walked out of this major thing that tried to really come for my life. And you to instead say, well, God, that's a point of reference. That's part of my spiritual resume. And you got me through that. So I know you're going to get me through this. Like that's a level of spiritual maturity that I'm hopeful that people can pull from. So, because that place of strength, that's what's needed when you go into these battles. It's like, no, put on the whole armor of God and stand. Having done all, stand. Therefore.
And I think what's good is that God gives us a memory, right? I think that's what happens. We forget. We forget and we almost act like we're starting all over again. But did you remember what he did the last time? If we could just remember what he did the last time.
Wow.
And really stand on that. Now, God, I know if you took me through that, you're going to take me through this. I got to trust him enough that if he did it before, Ty Tribbett was right. It sounds like a joy song, but the reality is, Lord, if you did this for me before, I got to trust that you're going to do it again.
Do it again.
You know, and I got to stand on that. I got to stand on that.
That's so good.
Yeah.
So now you are in this battle, you know, you're faced with this battle and you get to a place where you begin to have this hair loss. Take us back to that part of things.
Yes.
Because I know as a woman, that is another battle in and of itself and can be a very emotional one.
Yes. And I will tell you, I don't think you realize how much you miss your hair until it's gone, and gone of no neglect or abuse that you've inflicted upon it, but it's gone because of something that you've taken into your body that's causing it to no longer be. And so I will tell you, I was wearing those crochet braids. And for some reason, I'm wearing the crochet braids and I noticed like these little hairs sticking out of my little edge. Now, you know how we do now. We slicking down them edges. We doing all kinds of stuff now just to keep them on.
The baby hairs and the slick backs. Yes.
But I noticed like these little pieces that were just sticking out. So one night I was taking out the crochet braids and I noticed, I said, my edges. And I recall to my mind now that that's what that experience was. And so I took the crochet braids out and I sported the little crinkly and I put like a scarf like around my head. I was in class at the time And so I noticed that, and I said, oh, I started thinking, because here I am, my second week into chemo, second round of chemo.
Okay.
And I did not want to believe that chemo, had that kind of power. Mm-hmm. Even though they told us it could potentially take your hair out.
Okay.
And I didn't want to believe it. So I went on, I had class on that Monday. I came home and I noticed that every time I did this, hair was tangled in between my fingers. And I said, it's happening. Wow. My hair is coming out. I had to make a decision right there. I said, because I am not going to let the enemy wear me out because the enemy is real. And it is bad enough that you're going through this trial, but he will come and talk to your mind.
Oh, yes.
And I said, I am not going to let him beat me about my hair. And it just so happened, I was on the phone talking to my husband's aunt, my aunt, and she had just come through breast cancer herself.
Okay.
The year before. And she said, yeah, girl, I just went ahead and you can go ahead and just cut your hair off. I said, well, she said, no, don't shave it. She said, just, you can cut it down. And so I went upstairs, got in the mirror, and I started cutting my hair down. I called my daughter. I said, Avery, my hair is falling out. She says, Mom, your hair is not falling. I said, Avery, my hair is falling out, and we have to go to the wig store. So she came home early, and she took me to the wig store. And I'm going about the store looking for a wig or whatever. And she's at the front of the store. And I go to the back of the store. And I'm waiting. She's handling a transaction. We had found something. But I'm in the back of the store where they have the little dressing areas and the mirrors and the chairs.
Yeah.
I'm sitting in a chair. And I'm looking at this woman that I don't recognize. And she has tears rolling down her face. And that woman was me. It was me.
Yeah.
And Avery comes down from the front of the store and she grabs me. And she says, Mom, you are cancer free.
Oh my God.
And immediately the weight that was on me, it left. That weight, it came right off of me.
My God.
And I left out of there with that $15 wig. It was not cheap.
The weight had lifted, honey, and so had a little bit of your wallet.
Well, her wallet. Because Avery Jones paid for that wig.
Love it. Love a good daughter.
She paid for that wig, and we walked on out of there, and I just boldly, I will be honest to you about that wig, though. I had to do, because I was in school, one of the assignments was to do a mini message. And so I sported that wig at the mini message, and I laugh at myself now because the wig was doing this while I was talking.
Bouncing and behaving.
Oh, the wig was doing this thing, honey. You couldn't tell her nothing. The wig was doing what she needed. She was doing the most. She was doing the most. But I will kid you not, as soon as I finished and I got in that car, that wig became a passenger.
Wow.
I couldn't take it. But yeah, that was a very very heavy experience.
Wow.
But I was grateful to God. I really was. And my daughter, she really arrested.
Well, that's what I was, because what you were saying brought up two things for me. One, when you were in that moment staring in that mirror and you didn't recognize yourself. Now, had you already done the clip?
Oh, yeah, the cutting, I had already cut it down. And Avery, actually, when she came home that day, she cut it down even further.
Okay, and so it was how?
Yeah, I had like maybe an inch maybe on my head. And then Avery
Okay.
came down. It was so funny because she was like, oops. I said, what's wrong, Avery? She said, well, I said, well, don't worry about it. Just go ahead on and cut it on down. And we cut it on down. So, yeah. And then the rest of it eventually just smoothed right on off.
Wow.
And literally, I lost my eyebrows. I lost hair everywhere.
Wow. People don't really talk about that.
Oh,
that,
yeah.
You know,
I
you lose hair in
lost
other
hair
places.
everywhere. I think the first go around, I did lose my eyelashes also.
What?
Yeah, I
didn't
lost
know
my
all of
eyelashes.
that
I believe
can
they
go.
I believe they slid off eventually as well. Maybe not
Okay.
completely, but my eyebrows definitely they started exiting too. So you really do look like that cancer patient. You know, when I see people now, I can kind of tell, you know, there's a distinct look that you just have.
So when you looked in that mirror, though, and the tears are coming, like what? Take us back if you can remember, like what rabbit hole did you go down in your thinking?
To be honest with you, I don't even know. I don't. Maybe I was sad. Because again, I didn't recognize that woman.
Yeah.
I literally, when I looked in that mirror that first time, I didn't. I think when the tears started rolling, I came back to myself. I think it does cause you to have somewhat of an out of body experience.
Yeah, and kind of an identity crisis.
It's
I'm
a new.
sure.
Yeah, it's a new. It's a new.
Yeah.
It's a new.
And the second thing that came up for me was you talked about how Avery, when she came and held you and decreed over you, which I absolutely love.
Yes, she did.
But with your family, how was their reaction? How was their support for you?
Well, let me start with my son. My son, I want to say, I have to kind of chuckle about it with him because his attitude was like, you're going to be all right.
Amen.
Either he was just not aware of the magnitude of what I was experiencing, but his attitude was like, you're going to be all right.
Love that.
My husband was very strong. He never treated me indifferent. We still did things, you know, he encouraged me. I still cooked when I physically could. I didn't do a lot though during the chemotherapy time frame because it was just I had no energy to do anything. They catered to me. They made sure that I had everything I needed, which I didn't need much at all. I needed prayer. I needed good food. One of the things that I encourage people to do who go through chemo is to make sure that you have to will yourself to eat. You will yourself to eat.
Wow.
You because chemo has a spirit. I will say that. And I'll probably get tested on it, but chemo, there's a spirit to chemo. While it's supposed to make you better, it is destroying things in you at the same time. So imagine those two influences abiding in you at the same time.
Yeah.
And so you have to will yourself to do things that you don't want to do. You have to will yourself to go outside and take a walk. You know, you have to will yourself, even though we couldn't sit in the sun.
Oh,
right?
really?
That was one of the things when, and I tell you, times have changed too, because there's like a 9-year difference between the first time and this second time. But that first time was, nope, you can't be in the sun. You don't, you know, so, you know, I really felt like, oh man, I want to go outside. I want to, you know, so you're cognizant of the time of day and that kind of thing. But you just have to will yourself to do things. And my family was very supportive. I will tell you, anybody going through a crisis, it is a blessing if you have a family that really loves you and that entreats you and they care about you and they want to see you well. They want to see you well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so beautiful. I'm just so grateful to hear that. And, and I know not everybody has what we would call a traditional family around them. Some people have, like I have my siblings, the siblings that God chose for me, and then I have my sisters like you that I got to choose.
Yes.
And it's still God choosing, but still not related by blood, but. Yeah, I always tell people, make sure you have a village around you, especially a village that knows how to pray.
Yes.
And are supportive of you. So, yeah, I do encourage everybody to have that and get that, be intentional about getting that in their lives. And so you went through all of these things. You came out on the other side. Did you ring the bell? Is that a part of what you...
Well, I will tell you, my first moment with chemo, I did not ring any bells.
Okay.
I did not ring a bell for radiation either. I had to stop the chemotherapy after the first round.
Wow.
I had to stop the radiation after eight treatments. Because I had just come through that situation with the aorta, which is connected to your heart, right?
Yes.
I was experiencing things that just did not feel right. And I was like, God, I need you to help me. I need to make a decision as to whether I move forward with this chemotherapy. And what was interesting about it, I started asking questions. I've worked in the health industry for over 30 years. So I had enough knowledge, maybe not so much about this condition, but to ask questions.
Yes.
And one of the questions that I asked as I was going through this process of determining whether I could continue on with the chemotherapy was, what are my chances? I want to know what the statistics say. Because chemotherapy, as I said, it's killing things while it is killing things that need to be killed, right?
So attacking
it's
the good
attacking the good and the bad cells.
Yeah.
But now it's affecting my heart.
Got it.
So I wanted to know, well, what is the percentage of this chemotherapy doing whatever it needs to do? And when it was like 7 or 5%, I said, oh, that's not worth my heart.
Oh, wow.
But I consulted the Lord.
Yes,
and
indeed.
That's the difference. And I will say, I know the Lord understands better than we do about the decisions that he allows us to make. So he allowed me to stop the chemotherapy and the radiation.
Okay.
Yeah, he allowed me to do that. Different situation the second time around.
But before we get into that, you wrote a book about your experiences.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, it's called And It Is So, The Power of His Promise. And in the book, I kind of recount where things started to kind of impact our family in a very huge way at the beginning of the book. It's like a little mini memoir. So I go into details about my upbringing and college experiences and meeting my husband and moving to Maryland because this is a whole new world for me. I came from New Jersey. Here I am in Maryland. We had somewhat of a tragedy with one of our loved ones. They're still living, but that kind of started the ball rolling of us having to do things that was out of the norm of our normal living, right? And it was traumatic. And I think it had more of an impact on my physical body than I would give it weight to. But when that happened, we just had to switch gears and kind of go into prayer mode, attack mode, address mode, mama bear mode, if anybody knows what that's like. And so we had to do some things that we never thought we would have to do. And in the interim, I had the aortic dissection. So I write in the book about these experiences.
Okay.
And I write about, how God just took me through this cancer journey and just how he brought me out.
Amen.
And so that's really what the book is about. some happy moments, some funny moments. The people that I mentioned, one of the things that was very important, I'll share this with you. When I went in for the chemotherapy, prior to going in, my assistant pastor, he told me, he said, read Mark 16, 17, and 18. These signs shall follow those that believe. We'll cast out devils, we'll speak in new tongues. The scripture also says, and if we take in any deadly thing, meaning the chemotherapy, it will not harm us. Yeah. We'll lay hands on the sick and they will recover. And so every time you go in there to take the chemotherapy, you speak that over you.
I love it.
You speak that word over you. So every time I went in, I spoke that word. No misperception about speaking that word. Yes, I still had the effects of the chemo. I still had the hair loss. I still had changes in my fingernails and my toenails, my gums, all those things, but it didn't kill me.
Amen. Amen.
It didn't take me out.
Amen.
The word does do what it says it can do. Yes. And so I was covered in that way. So yeah, those are some of the things that I was, that I wrote about in the book.
And it's also like the difference between going into a battle armed or unarmed. That's the difference.
You mentioned David. I mean, really, and going in with the right armor.
There you
right?
Go.
He couldn't go in with whoever's king's armor.
With King Saul's
that stuff was too heavy. Isn't it interesting how some armor is too heavy?
When it's not yours, when it's not
you,
it's not for you.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, we would love to hear a little bit from the book. If you would like to share just a little snippet.
Yeah. And I think I may have really talked through it already. Because I shared with you about, the experience with Avery and how she just basically arrested those tears.
Yeah.
And she canceled any negative thoughts going on in my head. We left with the very expensive wig that she could afford. That young lady brought me back to myself. I didn't have to think about the chemotherapy treatment later, nor the unprocessed wig that took on a life of its own. I focused on my assignment, and hence I delivered my message to the class in its entirety. And in the book, I write about the message. And the message was about Joshua.
Oh, wow.
It's about Joshua. And we know the word that God gave to Joshua about being courageous. That is what I wrote my message about.
Be strong and very courageous.
Yep.
Yes, that's one of my favorite books of the Bible. Wow. That's so powerful. I'm just so grateful to have your testimony around this very intense battle that you experienced. Yeah. And then just to see you sitting here even, it's like, it's like two different people. It's like you're describing someone else's life.
Yes.
And I'm sitting here looking at you and I'm like, no, but it's her.
Really my life.
Her.
She is really my life. There are days I just want to pinch myself.
Wow.
There are days, I tell you, if I sit down and I really think about what God brought me out of.
I mean.
I just sit, I'm like, God, you're amazing.
You're
amazing.
I tell you. And so then I know that when you got the second diagnosis, you said it was 9 years between the first and the second.
Yes.
When you got that second diagnosis, we actually, as a group, we were all planning to go to Ghana. And I was very excited.
Yes.
Everybody's planning, getting our ducks in a row for this big trip to Ghana. And then you get this second diagnosis.
Yes.
So take us to that.
Yes. So the second diagnosis. Now, again, I'm the one who never has any lumps. I don't feel anything. Going for my routine mammogram. Once again, I had stopped getting them like every 6 months. So now we're down to once a year and good. Now, at the same time, I'm also still getting every 2-year MRIs for the aorta.
Okay.
That is just a part of the life of anybody that's had a dissection, at least for me. So those two dynamics still exist. But here I go in for the mammogram. So let me just backtrack. One of the things that I did the first time was I was really very conscious of my health. So I was eating like I was supposed to be eating, doing all the things, we had some dynamics change in our home, which brought on a little bit a layer of stress for me. And so I think the combination of things that were going on, I wasn't as faithful about the eating as I should have been. And so I knew that when this, not knowing that it was cancer at the time, but when I had to come back for the second diagnosis, I told myself, I said, you probably need to kick back into gear with how you were eating before.
Yeah.
And so kind of went back to the healthier eating. Not that I had deviated too far, but sometimes you really got to line up, right? And so I did that. And when I got the second diagnosis, I can tell you the truth, it didn't feel the same.
In what way?
It wasn't that I was shocked in a way, like, it was like, I can't even verbally describe it. It was just like but I will tell you, I had to really stop and assess my whole life. I had to stop and assess the things that I was holding on to, the weights, things that I may not have given completely to the Lord, the stressors, because I was trying to figure out what is the contributor to this time, right? And so I had talks with the Lord because I was like, Lord, I don't want anything, one, to keep me from you. I don't want anything to come in between my relationship with you. Lord, forgive me if I have not done the things that I'm supposed to do. Now, we have to be careful with that sometimes too, right? Because the enemy wants to self-guilt us about everything.
Right. Condemn, really.
Yes. But I felt like maybe there's some things that I needed to be doing. And so those were the things that I had to really sit. You have to have the come to Jesus meetings with yourself. I mean, people can say what they want to say, but you got to make sure you are right. And then once you rectify that, then you got to move on and continue to do whatever God has you to do, or whatever it is. And so I began to reconcile in that way, just quietly. This is the first time I'm really probably telling anybody about how I was feeling. In addition to now I got to go through this again. But this was the beautiful part about it. God didn't let me worry about this time like I did the last time. If there was a sense of worry. I remember telling Avery, and she started to tear up. I said, oh, no. I said, we putting our big pants on. We getting ready to fight. I said, so you gonna be all right. We getting ready to fight. My whole resolve had really changed. It didn't mean that we weren't going to go through. And it was interesting because for some reason, God didn't let me worry about the cancer part of this. I didn't have that same kind of worry per se.
Yeah.
He didn't let me worry about it that way. I knew that I was going to have to go into battle because there was I had to make some different decisions this time. The first time I had the lumpectomy. The second time I had to make a decision about a mastectomy. And I didn't know what all those components would be for me.
Right.
I did not know. And so, you know, I had to kind of figure out, okay, how is this going to be? What is this surgery going to look like? Body imaging, right?
Exactly.
Those are the kinds of decisions that you then have to make. But the cancer itself was not my worry.
Yes. And you know,
Right.
I got a sense of that because with this second diagnosis, I had a front row seat. And I remember you calling me and saying, Patty, I'm not going to be able to make it to Ghana. And I'm like, well, why not? What's going I needed you on that plane with me. What's going on?
I wanted to go too.
And then, you know, and then you sharing that news with me. But your whole demeanor, everything about you was joyful. And I'm like, I think I even pulled away my phone and was like looking at my phone like, who is this on my phone? And we literally had a conversation where you were like, no, I made a decision. I'm going with the joy of the Lord.
I had to.
And I was just like, who is this soldier for Jesus Christ? What?
Listen, and let me just say to you, I needed to have that resolve.
Yes.
Because when I had the surgery and the pain from the surgery, that was some real stuff.
Wow.
That was some real stuff.
And you didn't complain.
I tried my best. Honestly, I tried my best. I said, because I don't want to be a complainer. I don't want to be one of those people that, oh, woe is me. No, I don't want to be that person. You know, I don't want to spill that on other people. Right? I had my own internal, you know, stuff. But outwardly, that's not what God gives me to give outwardly. You know, and it's really not my temperament to be a complainer. I mean, come on.
No,
you know,
we're gonna laugh through it.
Listen.
Which we did do.
We gonna laugh about something. I think laughter is good for the soul.
It really is. Laughter is like medicine.
It is. That's what the word says. And it is so true. It is so true. So I had to take joy. I had to possess joy. But of course, in the interim of this surgery, 15 days later, Valentine's Day, I have a stroke.
Exactly.
I have a stroke. I'm out with my daughter enjoying Valentine's Day, and I have a stroke.
Yep.
And I'm verbalizing because I had no physical deficiencies at all. And that's something that people need to be cognizant of. You don't necessarily have to have physical, visible things. Yeah, indicators. The only thing was I couldn't order my words.
Yes.
So me, I'm a talker. When I can't order my words and I'm trying to think and I'm missing words even in my thinking, but the Lord allowed me to at least tell them I can't order my words. I could say that very clear verbally, no problem. But other things were not coming to me like they should have. And so again, I'm like, Lord, and I get, of course, to the hospital, they're looking at me like, Jaculin, my husband and my daughter, here they go. Now they're going to put their foot down.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
They're going to put their foot down. So I've been very cautious, even with them now, in making sure that I'm articulating my words and I'm not talking too slow or I'm not, delays and things like that where they would be overly concerned. But
yeah, because... I mean, Jaculin, sometimes I'm shaking my head because you called me. It was maybe like a week later or something like that. And you were like, girl, guess what the devil did this time? I had a stroke. I'm like, what?
Yes.
Everything stopped. World stop. But you just, and even in that moment, you were laughing, you were making little jokes, and you had me laughing the whole 9 yards. And I'm like, I just can't believe this is going on. And then to go back to the hair loss this second time.
Oh boy. And let me just tell you,
Yes.
The devil didn't have a chance on the
None
hair.
at all. I mean, really,
I will share with you
You
what my
basically told him, go sit down somewhere.
Go sit down somewhere. Go sit down. Because, I knew that, well, one of the things was I was going to lose my hair again. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. But I will tell you, this time, I was so liberated in the loss of my hair. Mm-hmm. I was like, I'm going to rock this.
You did it with such grace, such beauty, all of the things. You got a great head shape. So, I mean, that worked out. It's just like, but I want to go back just because I want to give you just some perspective, some of my perspective, and my experience of walking through this with you. Mm-hmm. And I remember, first of all, when we first met, we were just like, I think we were just kind of coming out of COVID.
Yes.
And you and I had connected around film, and I needed a lead actress in my first short film. Yes. And we met and we just clicked off the bat. And I was like, this one right here, she's got it. She's got the spice and all the things. And just, just the way you, it's making sense to me when you talk about how you grew up and how your mom instilled in you just this whole, this whole ideal of wanting to have a certain image and appearance when you go out of the house. And because that has carried across and you come across, I mean, you're my own live Claire Huxtable, really.
Oh, I wish.
You are. You always show up regal. You're always a lady and all of those things. And so when I first met you, that was what I saw. And, you were groomed and all of that. Yes. And so as we're meeting and connecting all of the time, and then you appear in that film, and then we follow it up with the second short film, 5 Minutes with Jesus, and you had one of the lead roles in that. And your hair, it's always sharp, because even in the 5 Minutes with Jesus, I wrote that character for you. And I think I described the character as like this sassy character with this chic hairdo. And you were wearing the cute, it was a shorter hairstyle, but it was very, I mean, it was almost a little avant-garde, just a little bit, almost. And it was just this chic, like sophisticated look that you had. And I remember having a conversation with you. I'm like, well, Jaculin, oh my God, your hair, and you were like, no, the first time I was in tears. This time, I'm not going to have it. And we met up again with our husbands. I remember we went to a restaurant in Alexandria, and you were wearing a hat.
Right.
And you did not care about taking the hat off, though. It was not a thing of where you were like, oh, I got to put this hat on and let me just, bring it on down. No, you were like putting the hat to the side and just going on with conversation and laughing and everything. And I marveled.
Wow.
I marveled. So, so I just wanted to share that with you.
And and I appreciate that, Patty. Now, this hair has been out of control. You've probably never really seen me with it really, really out of control. Because listen, when I come to see Patty Rice, I'm going to show up looking like somebody.
You're groomed.
I never know whether you're going to have me,
you're
understudy.
Totally
I never know. I never know what you're going to do with me. And I'm grateful. I really am grateful for whatever opportunities come. But you've always been so gracious. And I remember, for 5 Minutes with Jesus, I initially thought I should have a wig on. But when I got here, they were like, no, we want your natural hair. And I was like, well, wait a minute. I'm a hairdresser. I'm thinking this hairdresser's supposed to show up, fly or whatever.
And you were
like, no, I want your natural hair. And that really kind of blew me away because, in the growing of your hair, that seems to be where the struggle comes in. The battle isn't so much, I can say this second time, the battle isn't so much that the hair was gone. Because I figured the first time I learned how to put glasses on, I learned how to make my face. There's some things you should do. Put on a different earring or something just to make yourself feel a little bit more, because if you've had long hair before and now you're really, really rocking short hair, you should rock it. Put a little gel in, do something. It depends on what you're comfortable with. But those are the things I became comfortable with. And so with this second time, I was like, hey, she got a pretty decent head. She ain't got a whole bunch of lumps and bumps. She can kind of, but I became liberated. I felt liberated with the bald head. And I didn't feel like I had to shy away from being bald. And I also understood why I was bald. And that was easier for me to adjust to not having hair,
And I could tell how free you were when I'm opening up my Facebook and I see you on there pose.
Yes.
With your scalp, your scalp looking gorgeous.
And
I was
Patty, you are so right. You are so right. Because I could look back to when the first time and this time. And yes, I probably have more pictures this time than I ever had before. And it is because I felt that liberation. I felt that freedom. And I will say, my only struggle now, if now is an issue, is the hair is growing indifferently.
Okay, describe that for me.
So I will tell you one of the mistakes, and I believe it was a mistake that I made this go round in being so liberated. When the hair started falling out, I'll never forget this one Saturday, I had a hat on my head. And I went out, the sun was shining, it was very nice. I had a hat on my head. When I came back home and took the hat off, I noticed that there were strands of hair in the top of the hat. And this, again, was my second round of chemotherapy, and the hair is starting to fall out. And I'm like, okay, well, not a problem. So I take the hat off, and all through the night, I'm doing this. And it's dark, but I'm just kind of like pulling it out myself because it's easy. It's coming out easy. And so now, as the hair is growing back in, what I'm noticing is that it's not growing back in the areas as fully as it was. And so I'm wondering, did I create more damage to some of my hair follicles and things like that? That could be the reason why it's not as full as it was before. And so as it's growing back, I kind of notice the areas that I'm praying over, botana oil, all kinds of moisturizers, holy oil.
Yes.
I'm just doing different things to try to get the hair to grow back in those areas. Yeah.
Have you consulted with the dermatologist?
I have not.
Okay.
I have not.
Is that something that you would consider?
I did that long time ago, and I can't even remember what it was for. And it was even before any of the chemotherapy events. And I will tell you, you buy that $300 shampoo and something tells you, maybe not. Maybe not this time. No.
So let's talk about society a little bit. The ones we call they. They said, they think. They've labeled. So the royal they. Tell me, why do you think it's such a stigma for women in terms of women specifically? I mean, I know men, they go through it as well. And I don't want to diminish their experience, but just as a woman, it seems like they add some extra sauce on it. When you're a woman and you either have very short hair or it's, a bald head, even when it's related to illness. Tell me, what do you think that is? Why do you think that is?
Well, I think our hair is supposed to be our glory, right? Our crown is our glory. So to not have hair, and I will say, maybe not so much now, but and maybe not too many years ago, for you to have short hair, is people were wondering like, what's wrong with her? We talk about good hair versus not good hair, and people struggle with what good hair looks like. Is good hair, does that mean that your hair is soft, silky, long, and bad hair is short, nappy, if I can use those terms? So people have kind of determined, and then, the industry, society at some point had a lot to do with how women were feeling about their hair. At one point, Afro was all right. And then I think as more people got into media and things like that, and they started looking at what was socially acceptable, generally a white woman with long, straight hair, we as a people, Black people, and I'm saying us because I'm a Black woman, we started making changes in what we thought would be socially acceptable. I think we have come around. We have definitely come around. And we're now taking our heritage and what we were born with and becoming proud of the hair that God gave us. And I think it's a beautiful thing. And I will say I've worn wigs before. I like them. I have one that showed up on film, and that's probably the only one that has really been out in the public since that time. But I think we've become comfortable in being our natural selves. I concern myself with our younger girls who haven't given themselves the opportunity to embrace their natural hair. I really I'm concerned with that because I want my youngster to show up being comfortable with who they are. But then we have to be careful because we're doing all kinds of things. We're not just doing hair, we're doing nails, we're doing eyelashes, we're doing eyebrows. So where do we stop?
Right. It's a balance. Where's the balance?
Yeah, right. So it's your level of comfortability. But I believe society has played a huge part in that. But I'm glad that we have become more comfortable in how we look and how we feel about ourselves. And really, the truth is how we feel about ourselves, whether we have a wig on or we don't. Whether my hair is pressed out or I have an afro, whether I'm bald or I've got hair down to my ankles or my knees. I think we have become more comfortable. And I think that's really where we need to be. Does it change who you are? Right. Does it change your personality? Does it cause you to feel like you have one up if you've done your hair a certain way and you're diminishing someone else who's decided that they don't care. They just want to be their natural selves. Yeah, I think society plays a big role in that.
They really do. And I'm just amazed at the number of women that's been growing that I'm seeing walk around with a bald head, proudly, confidently.
Yes.
Walking around without hair. Because back in the day, it was always a scarf.
Yeah.
Like that was just the thing. It was a scarf.
You did not do it.
And now, it just seems like, in some cases, I've seen it be just like a liberating thing for women, like it was for you. And then in some cases, it's almost like, well, I'm going to prove, almost like a bravado.
Warrior. Yeah.
Yeah. Almost like a bravado. And so I want to ask you this question. What did being bald do for you that you could not have gotten any other way? just in your sense of self and how you show up in the world?
Well, it was different the first time. I was self-conscious of it. I did put on a hat. I remember going to church once, believe it or not, and someone came up to me because they didn't know. And they were like, that just... And I said to them, well, I'm just coming through cancer treatment.
Wow.
And it kind of fizzled out. Whatever the intent was. And their intentions might have been genuine. I know the enemy's intentions were to just bat that peg down just a little bit further. But being bald, I think, it was kind of freeing because I didn't have to worry about my hair. I could just get up and go. Literally, I could just get up and go. Now, I did the rest of my face. Get up and go is different when you're bald, unless you're just comfortable. As I mature and I get older, there's some other things that I need to do to just continue to keep my appearance up. And I want to do that. But being bald, it just became very liberating. It really did. Hair no longer felt like it was a barrier or I couldn't, and being bald made it really easy. It made it really easy. I just get up and go. I didn't have to worry about it. Because women worry about their hair.
It's very true.
It's a real thing.
It's a real thing. It's a real thing. I actually met a woman recently, and we were having some little brief hair conversations, and she had just, on her way to the tea house where we were, she had just come from the doctor, and they were saying that it may be cancer. And it was amazing to me that she wasn't thinking so much about that potential diagnosis as she said on her ride over there to the tea house, she was thinking about, well, what if I have to lose my hair? And I was just blown away by that she had that thought and that feeling and it was almost like she was already preparing herself to even feel ashamed about that. And I was just like, but let's talk about the diagnosis. Right. I was just amazed that was the priority for her. And everybody processes differently. But it was just like, wow, I mean, that's how deep it is for us. So a woman like that who is, and I'm sure hair wasn't the only thing that she thought about, but that was the thing that she expressed to me. So a woman who has gotten a diagnosis and she is facing treatment and she's playing all the different what ifs, what would you say to her about that potential hair loss?
I will tell you, I have a friend, sweet sister. She had cancer long before I had cancer. She didn't lose any of her hair. She didn't. Her treatment was different. What she needed for her treatment didn't take out 1 ounce of her hair. She kept all of her hair. I think sometimes and maybe more and more people, it's just more prevalent now, and maybe what the treatment that they're using now seems to be affecting hair more than not. So the automatic assumption is, I'm going to lose my hair. Yeah. But she didn't lose her hair at all. So honestly, even with the first round, only because they told me that it could potentially lose my hair, I wasn't thinking about losing my hair. And sometimes we just need to pump the brakes just a little bit. And that's I can say that now, of course, but you don't know what your treatment plan might be. I have friends who did not have to have chemotherapy at all.
Wow.
They just had radiation. And so they kept their hair. Now, what they did do was make sure that they took in the vitamins and things like that, because some of them had radiation. And, maybe the effects of radiation may have done some different things overall. And so, but they didn't lose their hair at all. So I would say to that woman, let's look at all the options first. Let's not draw or make the assumption. But I think sometimes we don't know what that woman's history may have been. We don't know whether she's the type of person that goes to the hairdressers every 10 days, once a month. She might be on that schedule. Thank God I've never been on that schedule, because hairdressers, hey, I've just never fallen in and had that level of consistency with a hairdresser for a long period of time to feel like, oh my gosh. But I will tell you, the first time I had cancer, prior to probably that February, so I was on the praise team and going to work and what have you. And I had, started going to the Dominican shops and kind of schooled them on how to treat my hair.
Okay.
Right? Because that was important, because you blowing that hair out and the hair is just dying because it can't take the heat. But I had already trained them on how to do my hair. And on the praise team, and I'm telling you, this hair was flowing. Oh my goodness. I was clapping. It was doing. And I remember one sister said, oh, your hair looks really good. My hair, it was the best it had ever been just before the diagnosis.
Wow.
It was beautiful. I had to say it myself. This hair is beautiful. It really looked nice. And maybe that was part of some of the loss, I guess, the thought process of, oh, this chemotherapy is not when the chemotherapy was doing the most. And it did do the damage that it did. But yeah, I would say to that woman, just try not to be presumptuous about what's going to happen with your hair. And what's more important is that you're treating and feeding your internal body.
So good.
That's critical. Eat the right foods, eat the healthy foods, do what you need to do for your body so that even if your hair falls out, it has a chance. It has a chance. Yeah, but
So
don't be
good.
presumptuous.
So good. Oh my goodness. So tell everybody about how they can get your book. Do you still have that in print?
My book is still in print.
Okay.
It can be found on Amazon.
Okay.
I am in the process. I wrote that book, and then I also wrote a book for caregivers.
Oh, okay.
And that book, I think will have more value even for people who are caring for people who are sick.
Very good.
Because it's for the caregiver. It's not for the person who is sick.
Yeah, that is needed, because the caregiver a lot of times is
Neglects
a thankless
themselves.
job, and
It
they're
is.
not seen.
It is.
So
It is.
yeah, so
It
that even having a book like that is like, I see you. So
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
So
Yeah,
we'll
but-
make sure that we put the links
Yes.
so in the description box so that people can get a hold of it, as well as your turns as a lead actress. We'll make sure that we put those in the description box as well, so people can see your work.
Yes. Yes. Awesome. Yes.
Well, I appreciate you, Miss Jaculin, my own personal Claire Huxtable, who came today with her pearls. I love it. I appreciate having you here, and I thank you so much for your transparency. I know that people are going to be blessed by this conversation, and that women, and I don't want to forget men, women and men who are facing hair loss due to cancer-related treatment, that they will, look at this and they will be inspired.
Yes.
And they too will take a stance of, enemy, go sit down somewhere.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And thank all of you for being here with us today on Crown Conversations. Join us again.